12th chemistry, and that is commonly known as solid state. Solid state ठीक है, सब जानते हैं, अच्छी बात है, we all know, but before that we must know states of matter, and we all know matter is something that has mass and occupies space and can be felt by our senses. Mass exactly means the total number of particles contained in the body. There is a big difference between mass and weight. My weight is my mass, but my mass is not my weight. ये मैं कई बार बता चुका हूँ. And states of matter, when we are talking about, we have 5 states of matter. We have solid, we have liquid, we have gas. The intermediate state of liquid and gas, that is what we call as plasma, and obviously BEC, Bose-Einstein condensate. But we are not talking about the states of matter that we will discuss in 11th standard, states of matter, but here we are here to talk about solid state. Now see, one very important factor is that if I say that this cell phone is a solid, and why it has solid? Because it has a unique property which is commonly called as rigidity. Am I right? In simple ways, it has rigidity. And on the other hand, if I talk about liquid and gases, so I very clearly, emphasizingly tell you that liquid and gases, they have fluidity. उनमें बहाव होता है. So liquid and gases, they have fluidity, and solids, they have rigidity. Moving on, there are various factors, as I had told you, कि solid और liquid में और gases में difference किस चीज का होता है कि solids they have rigidity and liquid and gases they have fluidity. Clear है ना? So this is one of the reason that you will find कि the particles of a solid, अगर हम लोग kinetic theory की basis पे study करें, तो you will find that if these are the particles of a solid, and these particles, if you heat these particles, so these particles, they are aligned in their own definite positions. When you are heating a solid, that means what? You are providing the kinetic energy. Clear? And due to virtue of that kinetic energy, which is the one way which provides motion, you will find that the particles, they will vibrate. अगर ये गर्म हो जाएंगे, तो particles, they will vibrate up and down, but they will not tend to leave their positions. The particles of a solid, they will not tend to leave their position. But what happens in liquid? In terms of kinetic theory, if you talk about liquid, the particles are a little far away. एक पार्टिकल यहाँ है तो एक पार्टिकल यहाँ है, एक यहाँ है तो यहाँ है. यहाँ पे हम दो फैक्टर्स की बात करेंगे. सॉलिड्स में अगर आप देखेंगे between two particles in a solid, the intermolecular forces of attraction IMFA is max. It is maximum. The intermolecular forces of attraction is maximum in solids, whereas the intermolecular space IMS, this intermolecular space is least, है ना? तो स्पेस दो पार्टिकल्स के बीच में बहुत इंटरमॉलिक्यूलर स्पेस कम रहता है, और इंटरमॉलिक्यूलर फोर्सेस ऑफ अट्रैक्शन सॉलिड्स में काफी ज्यादा है. दिस इज द रीजन व्हाट प्रोवाइड्स सॉलिड rigidity. This is something which is present in the solid as a factor called as rigidity. When we are coming into the liquids, if you can see, you will find that the intermolecular forces of attraction is less, and intermolecular space is more. And it is because of this reason only that liquids, if you heat the liquid, then अगर आप किसी liquid को heat करते हैं, suppose in case if you are heating a liquid, so actually what you are providing is you are providing the kinetic energy, and that is the reason that liquids they leave their space, and the liquids they turn into vapor. Am I right? It is this explanation is completely on the basis of kinetic energy. Clear? This happens in liquids. That liquids, when you heat them, they turn into vapor. If you heat the liquid, they are turning into vapor. After liquid, if you talk about one more factor, we talk about gases. And if you can see, if I am talking about gases, one particle is here, one particle is here, one particle is here, one particle is here, and you will find that the gases, they are always in motion. That means इनकी काइनेटिक एनर्जी लीस्ट होगी, इनकी काइनेटिक एनर्जी मोर होगी, लेकिन इनकी काइनेटिक एनर्जी मैक्स होगी, मैक्सिमम होगी. So that is why the gases, they always move in a zigzag motion. This is also known as random motion, and it is also known as Brownian motion. So the gaseous particles, they always move in a zigzag motion or random motion, or what you rightly call as Brownian motion. And the gaseous particles, they always strike each other. The gaseous particles, they always tend to strike each other. And when they collide with each other, according to the collision theory, when gaseous particles, when they collide with each other, they transfer their kinetic energy to one another. What do? They transfer their kinetic energy to one another. And that is why the intermolecular forces of attraction in gas is, in gaseous particle, is least. But the intermolecular space is maximum. Getting me? And that is the reason that the gaseous particles, they are always in motion. This was a simple description of the three major states, although we have 5 states, but these are the 3 major states, that is solid, liquid and gas. Now we will be studying about the lesson, and the question is, अगर आप देखेंगे तो simple definition solid की क्या है? Solid is something which has a definite shape, which has rigidity and which has a fixed dimension. Clear? That is what you rightly call as solid. Clear? And the question is, why do some substances, my question is, why do some substances, they exist as solid? There are 2 reasons behind it. One is the intermolecular forces of attraction, which is maximum in solids, and the second one is thermal energy, which I just now explained you on the basis of kinetic theory of gases or kinetic theory of matter. We now move on. Solids की ऐसे कुछ जनरल हमने 10th क्लास तक पढ़ा है कि solids they have definite shape, solids they have definite volume, solids they possess rigidity, solids they have what you call as high density, solids are incompressible, etc., etc. So many points. But now in 12th standard थोड़ा सा उसको इस तरीके से देखेंगे. We will now study about the classification of solids. What we will be studying about? We will be studying about the classification of solids. Let us talk about the 2 types of solids. We have amorphous and we have crystalline. So we will be studying about these 2 types of the solids, what you rightly call as the amorphous as well as the crystalline solids. Now, simple भाषा में अगर मैं बोलूं तो जितने भी solid elements हैं, solid elements मतलब maximum metals and non-metals, they exist in this form, that is what you call as crystalline solids. They exist in this form, that is called as crystalline solids. Whereas if I talk about this form, it's an amorphous solid. If I talk about this plastic, this is also an amorphous solid. If I talk about rubber, it's an amorphous solid, etc., etc. So many kinds. Glass is an amorphous solid. Here, in fact, all the polymers of high molecular mass, they are actually the amorphous solids. Lekin we will talk about the point of difference between a crystalline solid and an amorphous solid. Let us see the point of difference between a crystalline solid and amorphous solid. we'll talk about this, that is the point of difference between a crystalline solid and an amorphous solid. सबसे पहले we will see about the arrangement of the constituent particles. हिंदी में बोलेंगे तो अलग अलग अवयवों का जो अरेंजमेंट है उसको हम स्टडी करेंगे. We will first talk about the arrangement of constituent. We'll be talking about the point of difference between a crystalline solid and amorphous solid. You will find कि अगर मैं arrangement of particles की बात करूं, if I talk about the arrangement of particles, तो arrangement of particles में I am talking about the species. Basically, what I am talking about is species. Species can be atom, it can be ion, or it can be molecule. I repeat, the species can be atom, ion, or molecule. Crystalline, अगर आप solid में देखेंगे, तो you will find that the particles, whether atom, ion, or molecule, the particles they are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern. And these geometrical pattern, it is on the two bases. One is long range order and another one is short range order. We have the long range order and we have the short range order. On basis of both of these, we have the long range order as well as we have the short range order. Clear? In fact, as I told you, एक crystalline solid में अगर आप देखेंगे, if you see and if you try to understand that in a crystalline solid, you will find that the particles they are arranged in a definite pattern. Clear? And you will find that the particles they are arranged in everywhere, in every corner. If you see, this is a crystalline solid, so you will find that the particles they are arranged over every corner. As you can see here, the particles are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern. And what is that definite geometrical pattern? That definite geometrical pattern is on the basis of x, y, and z. A three-dimensional pattern the particles they obtain. And you will find that this arrangement of particles, I am talking about crystalline solid. In a crystalline solid, you will find that this arrangement of particles, the three-dimensional arrangement of particles, that is x, y, and z, it lies each and everywhere in the what you call as your unit cell, that is x, y, and z, x, y, and z. Everywhere you will find this type of a regular definite arrangement present all over in the crystal, and that is what you commonly call as a crystalline solid. Then what is the difference between the crystalline and amorphous in terms of the arrangement of the particles? If you see, I have this crystal is of an amorphous solid. You will find that the particles they are present in various corners or in various positions, but this regular arrangement, or I must say this three-dimensional arrangement of what? Of x, y, and z, it is located in a very, very small region. This regular arrangement of the particles, that is x, y, and z, it is located in a very, very small region. So this is the difference between an amorphous and a crystalline. In a crystalline solid, you will find that there is a regular arrangement of particles in each and every particular portion of the crystal. But in an amorphous solid, you will find that the particles they are arranged only in a small portion, in a small region, and that is why it is termed as amorphous, and this is termed as crystal. Now moving a little further, you will find that in an amorphous solid there is a regular arrangement of particles, but it is in a very small region. So when this regular arrangement of particles in a very, very smaller region is there, then this is called as short range order. What it is called as? This is commonly called as short range order. So this small region जिसमें amorphous solid में एक छोटी सी जगह में एक regular definite arrangement है, इसको हम बोलते हैं, this is known as short range order. What it is called as? Short range order. But when this arrangement is present in each and every corner, when this arrangement is present in each and every corner of a crystal, then that is called as crystalline, and that is known as long range order. This is commonly known as long range order. So crystalline substances, they show long range order, whereas amorphous substances, they show short range order. About, as I told you, melting point, crystalline substance, they possess a very sharp melting point. I repeat that the crystalline substance, they possess a very sharp melting point, whereas the amorphous substances, they show a gradual decrease in their melting point. So all the crystalline surface substances, they possess a sharp melting point, और amorphous substance एक particular temperature range में decrease होते हैं. Clear? यही reason है. This is one of the reason that the crystalline substances, they have a definite heat of fusion. The crystalline substances, they have a definite heat of fusion, as I already told you. And amorphous solids, they do not have a definite heat of fusion. I will mention here one very important topic at this particular point, and that is isotropy and anisotropy. Competitive exams में ये कई बार पूछा गया है that what is isotropy and anisotropy. अगर आप जेई 2016 का मेंस का पेपर खोल के देखेंगे तो उसमें ये क्वेश्चन था. तो my question is, what is isotropy and anisotropy? Now see, if I talk about isotropy and anisotropy, if I talk about both these factors, see, in case of amorphous substances, if you take the example of amorphous substances, some of the properties जैसे electrical conductivity, विद्युत चालकता, refractive index, thermal expansion, ये कुछ ऐसी properties हैं जो सभी directions में they are identical, they are same in all the directions. Clear? चाहे वो gases का केस ले लीजिए, चाहे वो liquids का केस ले लीजिए. Clear? So as I told you, this property, कौन-कौन से मैंने बताया? Basically refractive index, thermal expansion, electrical conductivity, which are same in all the directions. What which are same in all the directions? This property is commonly called as isotropy. What is this property called as? Isotropy. और जो पदार्थ या substance इस property को show करते हैं, they are commonly known as isotropic. What they are commonly known as? Isotropic. लेकिन ये तो किसके केस में था? This was in the case of amorphous substance. This was in the case of amorphous substance. Whereas on the other hand, in case of crystalline substance, इनके केस में, crystalline substances के केस में, ये जितने भी properties मैंने बताए, कौन-कौन से? Electrical conductivity, refractive index, and thermal expansion. क्लियर? जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि आइसोट्रॉप्स में ये तीनों चीजें क्या होंगी? दे विल बी सेम इन ऑल डायरेक्शन. दे विल बी सेम इन ऑल द डायरेक्शन. बट व्हेन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द एनिसोट्रॉफी, जैसा मैंने आपको बताया, तो दिस टेक्स प्लेस, आइसोट्रॉफी टेक्स प्लेस विद व्हाट? With the amorphous substance, whereas anisotropic is a property which takes place with the crystalline substance. So anisotropic is a property which takes place with what? Which takes place with the crystalline substance. और जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि crystalline substance के cases में ये जो properties हैं, कौन-कौन सी properties? Electrical conductivity, refractive index और thermal expansion. ये properties इसमें क्या होंगी? Amorphous में same होंगी, लेकिन crystalline में electrical conductivity, as I told you, refractive index, and as I told you, thermal expansion, they are not same, they are different. किनके केस में? crystalline के. These properties, they are different then this type of property is commonly known as anisotropic. And the substance which shows this type of property, they are known as anisotrophs or anisotropic substances. So एक बात यहाँ पे प्रूव होती है क्या कि amorphous substances they are isotropic in nature, but crystalline substances they are anisotropic in nature. ये चीज सबको याद रखनी है. Is this clear? Right? In the same way, there is one more factor which is known as cleavage with a knife. आप कभी भी ब्रेड को, रबर के टुकड़े को, पनीर को, फोम को एकदम शार्प एजेस के साथ नहीं काट सकते. काट सकते? नहीं काट सकते. That means they do not produce a very sharp cleavage with a knife. But अगर आप crystalline substances को लोगे तो you can cut down with a sharp edges. Clear? चाहे लोहे का टुकड़ा हो, चाहे मेटल का टुकड़ा हो, कोई भी चीज हो, you can cut down crystalline substances with a sharp edge. So this proves that amorphous substance they do not show a proper cleavage when they are cut with a knife, but crystalline substances they show a proper cleavage when they are cut with a knife. इसके साथ जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था कि you will find कि crystalline solids, in fact, apart from after studying all these properties, we come to know that crystalline solids they are only true solids. The crystalline solids they are only true solids. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था, they are true solids. And amorphous substances, the amorphous solids they are commonly known as supercooled solids, supercooled liquids. Amorphous substances they are considered as supercooled liquids, but they are supercooled liquids of high viscosity. उनमें जो श्यानता है वो काफी ज्यादा है. तो these supercooled liquids they are called as, but they have high viscosity. What do they have? They have high viscosity. The amorphous substances. Clear? और क्योंकि इनमें high viscosity होती है, काफी ज्यादा गाढ़ा होते हैं ये, high viscosity होती है, इसीलिए इनको pseudo solids भी बोलते हैं. They are also called as pseudo solids. So the amorphous substances they are also known as pseudo solids. Clear? You may be fine. Clear? अच्छा, एक और चीज है, मैंने आपको अभी जो अरेंजमेंट बताया था, amorphous substance में XYZ का जो अरेंजमेंट होता है डेफिनेट ज्योमेट्रिकल पैटर्न का, it is only in a small place. लेकिन क्रिस्टलाइन में वो हर जगह प्रेजेंट होता है, जैसा मैंने शुरू में भी बताया था. तो amorphous solid का हर हिस्सा, एक छोटा सा हिस्सा आई शुड से थोड़ा सा क्रिस्टलाइन होता है, और बाकी का पूरा हिस्सा क्या होता है? नॉन क्रिस्टलाइन. Is this clear? Amorphous solid का एक छोटा सा हिस्सा क्रिस्टलाइन होता है और बाकी का पूरा हिस्सा नॉन क्रिस्टलाइन होता है. तो amorphous solid का वो छोटा सा हिस्सा जो क्रिस्टलाइन होता है, I repeat, that small portion of amorphous solid which is crystalline in nature, or I must say the crystalline part of the amorphous solid is commonly known as crystallites. The small crystalline part of amorphous solid is known as crystallites. This is commonly known as crystallites, and it is obviously of the, you will find कि जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था कि ये जो crystalline part of the amorphous solid है, that is known as crystallites.